Hello, welcome back to LiveENODING. In this episode, I'm gonna share with you this procedural setup created using SpreadChalk add-on in Blender. Basically, to make this grease pencil line wiggles. So this kind of animations, of course, you can do this in many different ways. But yeah, I think this is one way you can approach it, and I'm thinking maybe this is can be something that become like a real tool. Currently, what's going on here is that I have grease pencil line, and I have basically three strokes of grease pencil. But from those three strokes, I actually source them into SpreadChalk, and once it is inside SpreadChalk, we don't need to worry about the frame anymore. Like we can adjust everything procedurally inside SpreadChalk, so we can really just place the stroke anywhere we like, and adjust the speed of this wiggle animation if you like. So that's an example. So let's start from scratch. Don't look at the node. Don't be afraid of how big that node tree is. It's actually pretty simple. So basically, I'm gonna go to front view and orthos, and this is actually a basic animation principle. Like if you are drawing a line like this, and if you draw like kind of like the opposite, you're gonna get like this kind of wiggle kind of animations. But I found that just two stroke and interpolation between the two is not enough. So I like actually to have the one in the middle. So if we have this one in the middle, just like that, like more straight, we're gonna have this kind of more interesting animations, kind of like a dance a little bit, better than wiggle. So I'm gonna save this real quick. Wiggle line. So we have these grease pencil animations, and we can adjust it as we like, but it's enough for us. We have three strokes, and we're gonna bring it into node environment, create a new node tree, and then we're gonna source it using the GP. So control spacebar to bring these macros, and we should be able to source these grease pencil strokes. So just source the grease pencil data and then get the layer, and here we can select the particular frame actually. So we have three grease pencil frame at frame 1, 10, and 20. So that's cool, and we don't need this guy for now. We can just actually I'm just gonna leave that line here. So we have this blue line. I'm gonna select all, tap A, and then duplicate it again. So this is gonna be for the second frame, and this is for the third frame, and we're gonna use different color. And now let's just update it. So now we have those three strokes inside SpreadChalk, so we don't need to see the original grease pencil anymore. So we have these three lines, and we can actually adjust the sampling here if you like. Just use a floating value for this guy, and this guy. So by doing that, we can really control the sampling of each line. And because each line has the same number of vertices, we can easily interpolate between those lines, just like shape keys or blend shapes. Yeah, even though it's like super simple, just 4 lines, we can blend shape between those lines very easily. So this is kind of like doing shape keys, but the hard way. Slightly harder, but can be very useful. Vector lerp, that's what we want. And this is the first point data, the second point data, and as a result we're gonna have this new vertices, and we're gonna interpolate into the third one. So we should get the result that we like here. Okay, show the result, and I will be using different color. Yeah, I think this is pretty cool color, and we can make this slightly larger, the yellow color. Okay, so if we zero it out, we're gonna get the first frame. That's the first line, and then if we interpolate to the second line, we're gonna get that. And we can actually do like double bounce, so that's kind of one movement there, and then the second one is like again from 0 to 1. So this value from 0 to 1 and this value from 0 to 1 will control these animations. And how can we have like one controller to control these two? And yes, apparently we can. That's actually, even though it's slightly complicated, it's actually not that complicated once you understand. We can have this single value to control these two values. So this goes into the map range. Let's say for the first one we want to be like the value between 0 and 10. It's gonna be the new 0 and 1, and we're gonna have another one. See, like if I'm not wrong, I plug this one like that. Well, actually this one goes in there, and then the new value between 10 and 20 is gonna go from 0 to 1, and we're gonna clamp the value. So if I'm doing this correctly, we're gonna get the result. So 0 to 10 and 10 to 20. So we're gonna be able, now we are able to do this kind of motion very easily, kind of like a dance bounce. And if you're doing the like a double bounce now, it's gonna be like a complete animation there. See, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can loop that many times. This is actually useful for animation like a plants or things like that, just like in the background, like maybe a flower, dancing flower, or dancing cactus, or grass, or a tree, for example. And this line can be, you can turn it into Blender bones, for example, and then you can skin it into like you can skin 3D mesh into that bones, and then by doing that you're gonna get this kind of animation very easily. And I give you an example with SphereChop polyline. So basically this guy can output a line, something like that. And of course this guy can now do this kind of wiggle dancing lines very easily. And let's make like a random number here. Let's plug that in, give some kind of characteristic into this guy. So now it's a little bit more like some kind of alien looking flower. Yeah, you can perhaps increase the subdivision. Actually this line actually is pretty clean. If you duplicate it and then convert it into mesh, smooth it, you're gonna get this result, and you can animate that pretty easily. But this is what I'm talking about. It's kind of, you can get this kind of curve motion, kind of interesting motion very easily, just basically by using this slightly complicated interpolations. Actually, like this whole thing, if you turn it into like a single nodes that actually being able to interpolate like a multiple vector, you got this whole thing maybe can be simplified into a single nodes. I have not tried that, but I think you can do that definitely. So basically taking like multiple grease pencil data and then being able to interpolate, you're gonna be able to have this kind of like animation. This is kind of advanced, but also still pretty simple, but basic, but it's useful to animate anything, like yeah, anything, basically pencil or whatever, like looking like a stick, and then you can just animate it dancing this way. Maybe just give an eyes. Once you put an eyes and then you're making it dancing, it looks quite alive, basically. So there you go. That's an advanced interpolation using Sphere nodes in Blender. Hopefully you enjoy this and find it useful. Let me know, and thank you again. I'll see you next time.